Hey, what's happening, world? It's your boy, Mr. LeVar, and this the Barz with LeVar podcast. Appreciate y'all for pulling up and sitting down with your folk. You know what it is. This is a low-key, intimate sit-down where y'all gonna get questions that'll pop up on the screen. I'm gonna get them questions from comments, DMs, and lives, and you're gonna get real, on-the-spot, dead-ass answers. But before we go any further, like this video, share this video, subscribe to the podcast, and if you ain't already did it, go to barzwithlevar.com and get that merch. Now, with that being said, I got a real triple threat in the career today, straight out of Georgia, and also putting on for LA. I'm bringing a musical hit maker that ain't just dropping fire-ass hits, but he gonna be dropping knowledgeable content too. By day, he hit the books, studying to become an attorney in fact. By night, he hitting the studio, coming up with hits that'll make your head bob and your mind think. And if that wasn't enough, he used to rock camouflage as an officer in the U.S. Army. Now he traded in his fatigues for a pen and a mic. And let me tell you, Sony Records took notice. From publishing deals to the courtroom, from the courtroom to the record booth, from military precision to musical vision. My guy, my player partner, my actual kinfolk, that boy Rocky in the building. What's happening, my dog? How you living?
Man, what's going on with you, cuzzo? Hey, that intro was fire, bro. Hey, you make me feel like I'm out here doing something, bro,
Hey,
for real.
you is, my dog. You is. And even if you wasn't, that's the whole vibe. You know what I mean? I want anybody that come on the show to feel that. I mean, I give flowers where flowers do. You heard?
Man, I appreciate that, bro, for real, man.
Already, my dog. How you living today, Felmo? You good?
Yeah, man, everything's going well, man. Blessed, bro. How are you on your side?
Same, homie. I can't complain. You know what I mean? Living life and letting life live. You know what I'm saying? Hey, so I know you personally, right?
Indeed.
I don't really know if my viewers have had a chance to go check out your handle yet. I do got it underneath his name, so y'all look. I got Run It Up Rocky. Go pull him up. You know what I'm saying? Check out his music. Check out what he be talking about. He got some real content that's worth listening to. But just in case they don't know, can you let the viewers know a little about you and what you currently got going on personally and professionally?
Indeed, brother, indeed. Man, so right now, professionally, songwriting, always songwriting, man. You know, you were on my last project, brother, that dropped this past year. So, you know, that's been doing very well. Got a lot of people, you know, banging that one, especially in the community that I'm in the truth community. So yeah, it's been a big year. You know, I'm about to put out some more singles, just got back from Africa. So, you know, I got a little bit more flavor in my toolbox over there. So, you know, personally, man, it's wedding season, so you know it's looking like I might be the move, man. So everything is coming together. All praise the Most High, man. So yeah,
Straight up. Hey, and one thing that I've spoke about a couple of times on previous episodes is I like having people. So the first two, one was from Argentina, the other one was from North Africa, right?
okay.
And so I'm actually stationed with my guy from Africa, but the other cat that I had on the show, I just met him off IG because I was just scrolling through producers that had beats, and I came across his beats, and I was like, "Yo, he got some fire ass hits, so let me, you know what I'm saying, link up with him." In your case, you from the States, but if y'all ain't hear what he just said, my dog listed a whole list of things he doing and he got going on and things he got going on in the future. But my dog just said he just got back from Africa. How many of y'all saying that? You know, ain't too many of y'all that saying y'all done went back and looked at the culture and, you know what I'm saying, learn from the culture. My dog just said that. That I can't just let that fly by like that didn't happen and that wasn't said, my dog. How was that trip though?
Man, life changing, bro. Life changing. You know, when I went, I was kind of like, all right, you know, not to be egotistical, but like, all right, you know, I went to an HBCU, I went to Hampton, you know, and I've been around a lot of our people before, but actually being in the motherland, seeing it, being able to put, you know, feet in the sand and really just experiencing the lifestyle. It was big, man. It was real big. You know, I can't even downplay, bro. So, you know,
Where all did you go?
I went to Burkina Faso, and that's above Ghana. And then I went to Nigeria. I went to Abuja. I went to Ibadan. In Burkina Faso, I was in Ouagadougou. So yeah, I was there, and then I had a few layovers in Morocco and Egypt, Cairo. So I got to visit a lot of different places, man. So it was a
Right.
blessing for real.
That's what's happening. When you went, did you go for any specific reason? Like, was there anything that necessarily pushed you to go, or was it just a trip you wanted to take?
Yeah, we blessed to have Auntie, man. Definitely put me on the business side, so was able to link with a lot of governors, a lot of people on the political scene when it comes to business. We met the president of Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traore. A lot of ministers. We were able to just plug into a lot of different avenues and arenas, bro. That us as African Americans, we really should be able to take advantage of, because there's no American dream anymore. The dream is really in Africa, bro. There's a lot of money to be made over there where we could build it up and be like a Vanderbilt, be like a Ford, be like a Carnegie, really take over. We put our money in it.
Agreed. That's what's happening. Yeah, shouts out to our auntie, man. Kim folks stay moving. She goes back and forth to many countries, but one place she goes continuously is all over Africa. She's actually about to go in like 2-3 weeks. So shouts out to her for passing that knowledge and that want to on to us. You know what I mean? But
Big
let me
fact.
get back to the beginning of what got you into wanting to write, got you into doing music. You know what I'm saying? Just let me know what kind of shaped you into who you are as far as an artist.
Man, I started writing when I was 13. I'm 28 right now. So what's that? It's 15 years. Been writing for over half my life now. And it was one of the spur of the moment things. I say writing. I didn't find writing. Writing found me. Paper on the desk, and I was like, man, this paper blank. Let me fill it up. And that's how I started writing my thoughts out. Very therapeutic for me at that time. By the time I was 16, Shaka Khan wanted me to write for her. I had a song called "All That I Have" that I wrote, and I actually still had that recording. Man, she was like, "Yo, I want to do something with this, man." And so,
Yeah,
I was blessed to have that opportunity, and then just kept writing, getting better and better, and yeah, a lot of people that influenced me. And then another thing, bro. I'm a back up. I was blessed to live in the South when the South was on top. I was blessed to be able to
yeah,
see that guy in that time period when he was on top. I was blessed to be able to see people like, people don't give Soldier his credit, but Soldier came out strong. He
man. He
had
put
a
on
whole,
hard for the city, bro. Like hard.
bro, come on. Shop boys with Party Like a Rock Star. I was able to see the whole South movement. Of course, Andre Three Stacks, all them, Jeezy. I was able to grow up in that era, and then when I transitioned to LA, I was able to see Kendrick's rise. I
Oh,
was able to
word.
see Tiger with that whole, because LA had a cool period where we were on top for a minute. It
Yeah,
was
that's
cool.
real.
Like Hippie, J Rock,
Yeah,
Kendrick, Tiger with YG, all them came out. I was able to be a part of that. So you know, I think all that, of course, Nip, rest in peace. That's one of my
yeah.
favorites. I was able to see all of that and take all of that and put it into my style for real.
What's happening? Because I remember my freshman year in college, Freaknik had just ended a couple of years before that, right? So there was not really a big block party besides Birthday Bash, which that was, man, Birthday Bash was it back in the gap. But with that being said, right, like there wasn't no big block parties like there used to be. So you had to start going to concerts. And I remember, man, like in '01, '02, when Tip started coming out, like he had already had a couple of junks already out. But when he actually started to take off around '01, '02, Jeezy was banging, all that trap music era was being cultivated. Bro, the city was, man, it man, I don't even know how to explain the music that you heard on the radio wherever you went. was the
Yeah.
South. You know what I
South.
mean? That's really all you heard was the South. And yeah, I second that though. Like, motherfuckers don't really give Soulja Boy his due credit, but bro, like in 07-ish, like 06, 07, dog,
Yes,
that was the only nigga you really heard in the club.
I'm
Bruh,
telling
he
you,
was, man, everywhere.
everywhere, bro, everywhere. And you right, it was the entire South, all the way to Chameleonaire with riding out there where you at. You know, the Nelly and St. Louis, it was everywhere, bro.
Yeah, we
So
had a hard ass little moment. Speaking of your background, right? I know you was an Army officer, and that's like a unique experience for someone in the music industry. You don't really hear a lot of people in the industry that say they had prior military experience. If that did, can you speak about how that shaped your perspective, discipline, or approach to your creative artworks?
yeah, for sure, for sure. I think it just made me more disciplined. I find that a lot of people that's in this industry um
Lack.
aren't really disciplined. Yeah, they're not that disciplined, bro.
Yeah,
And you know, where I'm able to sit down. I know you know, cause you can pump it out, bro. You be pumping out. I'm like, man, you know, but to be in that zone and really be disciplined to complete an album, there's not many people that have that can sit
right,
down and write, you know, be consistent and write a body of work. They might have one or two songs that might be hot, but to have that vision to write, you know, a state of course and to make it fit,
right.
mix master, you know, that takes discipline, right?
Yeah.
And I think being in the military, that's something that definitely helped me with that was okay, you know, I'm gonna stay the course, I'm gonna finish this album, I'm gonna finish what I started. You know, something that my dad always taught me, man, you know, complete your circle, man, finish what you started. So yeah, you know, I think that definitely helped.
And that's funny you talk about like the discipline and finishing a body of work, because I'm not gonna go off on this topic, but as a side note, like a lot of social media has made it so easy for people to just write 1 minute worth of a song and then they done. They don't ever complete it. You know what I mean? Because on social media, of course, right? You don't have to. You ain't nobody watching 2 minutes and 30 seconds or more of a song unless it just pop like that and you booming. But to
Yeah.
get back to where I was about to go, it's funny that you talk about that discipline. That's what started this podcast, right? Like, I had talked about how I got to Vegas in September. That first week I got here, nigga, literally the first day I got here, I ain't even unpacked my shit. Only thing I unpacked was my computer, my mic, and my chair to sit in so I could edit my music. And I pumped out 14 songs in like 10 days. Like, that's discipline.
Different. You different,
People
bro.
don't realize that most of the time you see somebody that's already on in the industry, especially back in the gap. It's a little more less now because social media, but prior to social media, when they had like CDs and shit,
Yeah.
people wonder why it took somebody 2-3 years to come out with another album. That's because they wasn't disciplined. They
Yeah.
couldn't come up with that body of work. They too busy spending their money, hitting the club, doing whatever it is, pick your thing that they was doing. But it takes that discipline to be selfish. And I saw I think it was Busta Rhymes. I think it was Busta Rhymes. Earlier today or yesterday, as a matter of fact, I saw a post he did on the podcast that he was on, and he was talking about like low key, when you do this and you really want to do this, and it's your goal, it's your passion, it's your life, you low key got to be selfish. And what I mean by that, and I guess technically what he means by that, but I agree with, like, there's a lot of times you can't just go hit the club with your partner in there. Or there's a lot of times you can't just take your gal, you know what I'm saying, to go post up in the city and just show her what the city like. Because for me, if I spend that time away from the studio or away from doing something productive with what I'm trying to accomplish, which is this music, which is this podcast, which is my clothes, whatever it may be, then I'm not focused on that goal. And it's just
Man,
going to take me longer to accomplish what I want to accomplish. That's why I can pump out so many songs or so many hits because I'm dedicated to it, and low key I'm selfish. You know what I mean? It just I be inside like a motherfucker, my G. Like I be in the studio every day. You know what I mean?
And that's something I really understand too, is the momentum. Momentum is a big thing. You know, you have
Yeah,
momentum in your favor, you gotta take advantage of it while you have it, right?
you gotta utilize it
Facts. Facts. You know, so
because
you
that
so
will kill the vibe, bro. If
facts.
I'm already if I put a beat on right now and I just heard it for the first time and I'm already coming up with the melody and I'm already coming up with the hook and I got the hook written out. And then I'm like, oh, I know I got a verse that I can put on this. I'm starting to write the verse. And then somebody
Yeah,
like, hey man, let's go hit this party. Shit, I go to the party and I come back home. I'm not in that vibe no more. Now I'm struggling to write the rest of the verse and struggling to write the rest of the song. That's why that momentum is a real thing, bro. Like they don't understand that. Like, don't stop the momentum. Keep that
fact.
going. You kind of already touched on it a little bit, but I low key want to hear about that because I ain't know about the Shaka Khan bit. But can you let us know a little bit about your musical journey? Like, I know you already talked about when you first discovered your passion, so I apologize for whoever's question this is, but I'm gonna skip over that question. But go back over some of the key milestones or turning points that led you to where you are today with music.
For sure, bro. I say that the Shaka Khan one was definitely one of the milestones. One that was like, okay, I
That's
think it let
crazy.
myself and let everybody around me know that, oh yeah, like he really got it like that, you know.
Yeah,
And 3 years in, and it was, you know, music was I live, breathe, you know, ate music. You know, I was studying it on a different level, studying it. I'm not just a fan of music anymore. I'm now you know, a student of it. Like when you hear Kobe Bryant talk about basketball, you know, how
right,
he like, bro, I'm sitting here, I'm studying, I want to see how you write, how you like, if you, man, I used to print out lyrics before like lyrics were on Apple Music. I used to print them out and I used to see how you would do your, you know, do your lines. I used to study how did Nip sound like, how did Kendrick make this sound like this, Cole make this sound like this, and I would study it and then I would make a song similar to it.
right.
When I was in high school, I had an A&R. This A&R, I don't remember the girl group that he put on, but I know he was the one that did the musical. He was behind the music on the movie Honey. Is that what it is with Jessica Alba? Back
Yeah,
in
that was it.
yeah, he was on that, and then he also helped out with Stomp the Yard too. And
That's
so,
what's happening.
yeah, bro, yeah. And then one of his producers actually won a Grammy around that time, but you know he was really showing me because he's like, all right, yeah, you know how to write hooks, but
Yeah,
he started showing me like, nah, I want you to focus on the verses. I don't want you to write another hook because I know that's where your strength is, right? If you can shoot,
already.
dribble, then you gotta learn how to dribble. And so I was like,
Yeah,
you know, so he challenged me to use my left hand for real, right?
that's
And
what's
so
happening.
my creativity got to a different level because now I'm
Yeah,
like, okay, I'm having to okay, and so you know, junior, senior year, freshman year, college, you know, I'm really working with him a lot, and I see my skill set go up, 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 and I'm like, okay, um, so that was a big
is
one, right?
he the one that made that connection between you and whoever it may be that you worked with in the industry?
Um, he was one of them, you know, because in the industry, it's kind of like you kind of just meet and you kind of just see who's who, and then you're like, oh, I know this person over here, I know this person over here, and it, you know, the way I am, I'm just kind of
You
social, you
networking.
know, you the same way, bro. I kind of
Yeah,
just I'll be in this area, I'll be in this circle, but um, you know, I'm still tapped in with him. He helps me like on the law side. He actually introduced me to my entertainment attorney that I use, right? So
right.
he helped me still to this day. He's like a mentor now. And it's like, all right, boom, on the legal side, I'm good, you know. But I ended up a few years later, now it's like, because I went through the whole thing with college and the army and all that. So I wasn't as locked in as I believe I could have been, I did drop a few albums when I was in college, but you got school and you doing military and all that. Because at that time, I'm like, oh, that's the family saying I'm supposed to go to college and everything.
Right.
That was my main focus. But then once I got out, did my military bit, came back to Atlanta. That's when I linked up with the people that I was working with a few years ago with Sony. And, that was just kind of, me just doing my thing, me just writing, my people knowing and saying, yo, like, bro's going crazy right now. Like, I want you to listen to the homie. And he just happened to be with somebody that was somebody. And they were like, yo, who is this? They're like, it's the homie. Yo, this Rock Wright, bro. And so they're like, okay, I want to, see what's up with him. So linked up with him, and he was out of Usher's camp, worked closely with him, and did some stuff with Kanye, did some stuff with Wayne, did some stuff, like, he's a 7-time Grammy winner himself, songwriting. So when I seen him, I showed him like some of the hip hop. I ain't know who, like, what his background was at the time. Showed him some of the hip hop stuff that was like, at the time. He's like, all right, let me see what else you got. And I started going in my bag, my songwriting bag, and he's like, "Oh wait, this is it. Okay."
What lane was he really in?
He's in the old school, like, R&B 90s lane. Okay. Once I found out, and then I put him a love song, like, okay, that was what
so by default, which most people would, because I know I probably would have, by default, most people probably gonna pull out the club bangers, the rap joints, because that's typically what you stereotypically, I gotta say honestly, you gonna think most people want to vibe with. And that's funny because he on the total opposite, not total, but on the opposite end of the spectrum. He on that, like you say, that R&B, that vibe type joint. That's what's happening. When let the viewers know, this is more so of a me question, not a viewers ask the question. But what was that situation like getting put into the publishing deal? Did you have to get lawyers? Did you know it yourself? Did you, what I'm saying, were you prepped for it? Did they hold your hand and walk you through it? Like, what was that process like getting that deal so people can know?
So that's where my A&R from back in the day helped me out, because I'm like, hey, this is what's going on. And he put me in touch with the entertainment attorneys. Now I'm talking with them. I'm going over the paperwork with them. They're breaking everything down for me. And, of course, gotta shoot them some bread. It's a business. It's the music business for a reason. And so, but I learned a lot through that publishing deal. It was cool. Definitely got to meet a lot of different people, like recording out of Usher's main studio, and being with his brother, and really just being in there making hits, having Polo's engineer come in and dang, bro, you got something. And it's like Polo. Polo. And so the Don Polo.
That was that nigga. That's that nigga right there, bro. You was around some heavy hitters, bro.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
My bad. So, go ahead. My fault.
No. You good, bro. We in it. So yeah, being in there and really just, okay, like, this is where we are with it. But also, at that time in my spiritual walk, I'm like, okay, I'm there's a very big spiritual awakening that happened within myself, and it's going on a lot around the world right now. And I'm like, man, I don't want to use my talents for evil. I want to use them for good. And so, just really praising the Most High with everything I did, and just really having that mentality. It did close some doors on me. I'm not gonna lie. But I know that everything is gonna happen the way it's supposed to happen. But
absolutely,
I was given the opportunity to write for Cardi B.
Yeah,
and I wasn't able to really tap in to Cardi B's like frequency like that,
What vibe you was on? You wasn't on that vibe no more.
Exactly. Back in the day, I could have written a hit for Cardi B, but at that time, when I got morals, I got certain standards now, and it's like, it is a little difficult when you have morals and standards as a songwriter in this industry, and it's like, okay, I'm sitting here with the dude that not wrote, but produced the beat for Whippin' Nene, Bolo, and I see him right here, and then I got this dude right here, and other engineers, like, it's like, bruh, and then it's like they sending me beats. The dude that just
Yeah,
wrote what's that one Cardi B song? He did the producing for Bartier
okay.
Cardi, that one. Yeah,
Yeah,
he sent beats. I got another
damn.
Cardi now because she coming back. That was when she was starting to come back, and I was like,
Yeah,
oh, it's a big time. And I was listening to Cardi. I was trying to tap in. I'm like, I
it
want to
just
even catch
wasn't the vibe.
it. It wasn't
And
my vibe.
not to cut you off, because I want you to
Yeah,
finish, but that's one thing I want the viewers to understand and focus on is you're not for everybody. Just
yeah,
because that opportunity arises doesn't mean you got to take it. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm older. So, we used to have this saying like all money ain't good money. You know what I mean? You
fact.
were sitting at a higher frequency, stepping down to vibrate at that low vibration just to get that bag is going to throw off your future endeavors. And even I ain't even going to mention endeavors. It's going to throw off your future being because now you're intercepting your what is meant to be your natural frequency so you can operate on somebody else's frequency. And life don't work like that. The universe don't work like that. Like, yeah, you might get that bag, but you won't be able to utilize and appreciate that bag the way that you're supposed to because you had to step down to a lower vibration in order to get it. So stay in your lane. You know what I mean? And when I say stay in your lane, I don't necessarily mean musically. I mean, if you are spiritually operating at a higher frequency, stay in that frequency and your meaning your morals, like Kinfolk just said, like he couldn't tap into that frequency because that's not where he was supposed to be at. So stay where you're supposed to be at, and what is meant for you will come and be meant for you. You may think it's not coming in time, but you don't never know what time anything coming. You are surprised by a lot of the things you get in life sometimes because you're operating at that higher frequency and the universe is blessing you with that stepping stone in life. So my fault, famo. I just wanted to touch on that because I know a lot of people feel like they gotta take this opportunity because somebody big came their way. Nah, if you don't agree with what they talking about or what they doing, you really don't. Because all that's gonna do is affect you in the long run.
And you attract what you put out, And so I know that had I written that or stepped down to that frequency, I would have attracted more of that frequency, because
Absolutely.
say I do write a banger for Cardi. Now who else wants to bang it? And
Yep.
it may not I step down, so now I'm in it
Because now you're
instead of
stuck.
saying,
And it's
so
funny. And I'll get to the next topic in a second, but it's funny because I want to touch on that, right? Like with that being said, that can also having that mind frame can also impede your progress because I'll use me for example, how I potentially could have affected the progress I could be making because we've talked about it off camera, right? Like, yeah, I can come up with a lot of hits, but I don't want to necessarily be an artist. And me having
yeah,
that mind frame, I'm out here in Vegas, right? Granted, I'm in the military, so a lot of people probably don't think about it, but we all still have normal everyday lives outside of our 9 to 5 within the military. And I
indeed.
had worked with this one chick that every week it seemed like she always being asked to sing the national anthem for a retirement ceremony or whatever kind of event they got going on for the service. And they go to her and
Right.
ask her to sing the national anthem. Well, she was guard, so she left. Well, they know because I stay on social media posting my stuff, so they know I do music. And
Right.
I was like, oh, nigga, I know as soon as she leave, they're gonna start asking me to do the national anthem. Well, it started because Juneteenth came. And when Juneteenth came, one of the master sergeants, he was like, yo, you do music, right? You'll do the Black National Anthem for Juneteenth. To
Mhm.
myself, I didn't say it out loud, but first thing in my head was like, bro, I don't even want to do the national anthem or the Black national anthem, because if I do, then they're gonna expect me to start doing the national anthem. They're gonna start expecting me to do all these events. But then I had to sit back and think. I was like, I could be holding myself back because I got a lot of partners that promote around the city. They put on for a lot of clubs that are in the military. They put on for the club. They DJs. Some are DJs for events that they have at these military events. So I had to take a step back and be like, even though I may not want to be an artist, for all I know, that could be a stepping stone to get to where I want to get to as a songwriter. You got to get your
Indeed.
foot in the door. You know what I mean? So I said all of that to say, even though it may not be something you want to do or a vision that you didn't have, don't impede your progress to get to where you want to get to just because you may have to do something that you didn't think you wanted to do or something that you didn't think you should be doing. That was the whole purpose of me saying that, you know what I mean?
That's
So let me get back to, we were talking about how the process was of you getting on in the label, right? So,
yes.
and did you have to get a lawyer? Did that tie into you wanting to study law and pursuing a career? Let me rephrase that. You study law. So on top of you studying law, how do you manage the two passions between music, studying law, and where did you studying law come from?
Man, no, it's definitely two different sides of my brain that I have to use, bro. And it's something that I'm still really working on balancing because
Right.
I've never really had to use my left side of my brain the way that I'm using for this law stuff. And just it's a totally different language when you start learning law. It's called legalese for a reason. It's a different language. Um,
Right.
and but to answer your question, no, the learning for when I got the attorney, that wasn't the beginning of it. It actually had to do with my run-ins with the law,
Okay.
ironically,
Yeah.
where
Right.
I've had some situations with the law, and the last two times were like, okay, now I got to figure out how to defend myself. I have to figure out they say ignorance of the law is no defense. All
Right.
right, but then they tell you to go get an attorney. And it's like, okay, well, let me figure this out for myself, because this ain't working. Whatever this is, like when my situation with the military was, I'm at the top of my game. I was the XO. I was the leader over like 72 different people. Man, I
Right.
was my PC score, man. You in the military, I had a 307. Like I was moving at that
Yeah.
time. And
Okay.
um, had a situation with a crooked cop and got hemmed up, and a lot of stuff happened, and it showed me, man, like, I had a different outlook on the army after that, because it was, I was like, man, I'm telling y'all the truth, but y'all ain't trying to hear me. Listening to this guy, ironically, he got hemmed up 2 years later, and for the same thing that he charged me on, and had to turn over his bag.
Hold on.
Like,
So
look,
I want to make sure I follow. You in the
yeah,
military, you get
yeah,
hemmed up by the laws. The law that hemmed you up did charge you. The same thing he charged you with is what he got yoked up with 2 years later.
yup.
That's funny. The universe is crazy, ain't it?
I'm telling
The
you, I'm in the
universe
back
is
of the squad
powerful,
car.
bro.
I'm like, bro, like I'm praying for you because you messing with God's son right now. You what you're doing is wrong. He's like, bro, I don't
Right.
need your prayers. He said, I don't need your prayers. I said, oh word.
Okay. Okay.
Bet.
Hey, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. You can tell them the truth, but if they don't want to believe it, it is what it is.
Come on, bro. So after that, I was like, man, and then having to see all the money that I had to pay out, even though I wasn't in the wrong, I'm like, okay, I gotta figure this thing out. So that's
Right.
what led me to law. Like I said, it's definitely a balance act because I'm having to use two totally different sides of my brain from going to learning these words and studying these words and all the different procedures to going back over here and writing the song. It's different, bro. Like you said, how many people do it, but that's what I feel like is going to be the next frontier we are learning how to, in the music industry, take advantage of our own careers by becoming independent artists
Right.
and knowing the business side of it. And to me, like I was telling you the other day, business to me is like offense. That's running,
Right.
that's scoring touchdowns. Law to me is like defense. That's protecting, that's making sure nobody
Absolutely.
on you, take anything from you, right? So now, as many people have learned, Master P, Nipsey, all these other people that have ran it up on the independent side, and they've done very well. Now I'm also taking that knowledge and applying the defense with it of the law, because even though they did well, they still had lawyers. And now I'm taking the knowledge of the law, and I think that's what's going to make me a real problem, along with me being a songwriter, and I can do artistry, and I know the business, and I know the law. So what's up?
Does your Let me ask that differently. Do you have a specific lane of the law that you're practicing and or learning, or are you just learning the foundation of law? Like, speak to me about that. Like, what particular area of law are you studying and trying to, you know what I'm saying, sharpen your skills on?
For sure. Right now, contract law. Contract law is what I've been studying for the past about year or two. Um, Also, trust law. So between contract and trust law, contracts show me how to read the contracts, how to break them down, how to make sense of them, and then trust law is what's showing me how to protect my assets. We are creators. Go ahead, bro.
Before you continue, can you let the viewers know briefly of what trust laws are? Like, what is a trust? That for those that don't know what a trust is, and then go ahead
Indeed,
and
indeed, yeah. Now trust is that's the Dundada, that's the supreme. When you put something in a trust, especially a irrevocable common law trust, that is something that you're essentially outside of the judicial system at that point. The way that you're moving is on the common law instead of the admiralty law. We'll get into that later, but you're on the
okay.
outside. You're on the outside of the law instead of the administrative law. So anyway,
Are you outside of the law because you're no longer an individual and you're operating as an entity, so to speak? Is that what you mean? Or
yes, and because the irrevocable common law trusts are foreign to the United States. Like my trust, I have a trust right now that's in Guyana. And
right?
so through that, the IRS recognizes it, and I'm able to create that trust. I'm able to put my other entities, once I attach my other entities to it, that puts all my other entities outside of the jurisdiction of the United States as well. And
So
that's
you
where
have a trust out of Ghana, and if you create another entity and or business, so to speak, you're putting that under your trust that you have in Ghana. So
yeah,
anything that is operating that you own, you're putting in a trust.
essentially underneath it, attaching it to it or putting it in it. Correct.
That's what's happening. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So to me personally, I've heard about trust. I'm not uh efficient when it comes to the knowledge of trust, right? So I'm gonna ask, let me know like the small pros and cons of having trust, especially in this music industry or in any industry. It don't have to be music, but in any industry versus having a sole proprietorship or LLC.
Indeed. I mean, it's all just like different pieces on the monopoly board. That's all it is. At the end
Okay.
of the day, it's all IRS recognized entities, and we start off because this is the board that we're playing on. So we all start off. Some people start off with you start off with the thumb tack. You got the dog, the top hat, the wheelbarrow. It's just all different entities when we talk about corporations. You know, we talk about associations, trusts, all the different entities, LLCs. So it's however you want to play the game. So proprietorship is going to be the worst one. That's the default entity that everyone starts off with. Trust would be
Okay.
the best one. You have to know how to operate a trust. Um, there are rules to operating a trust so that it doesn't turn into an association. You know, if you
Right.
don't operate and keep it in good standing, then it will turn to an association. So there's rules to all of that. But yeah, it's the best one because again, like I said, it's outside the jurisdiction of the courts if you know how to construct it in the proper way.
Understand. That for me, I feel like is something that the podcast is based around anybody that uses their mind creatively to start their own business and create a piece of work, be it an artist, songwriter, videographer, don't really matter. It's geared around everybody that wants to start their own pick your thing, right? And we
Indeed.
really don't know as a as people that are just trying to make it, we don't know that this side, which is the business side, is the most important side. The easiest thing
Yeah.
to do is for me to get into the booth and just come up with a fire ass hit. That's 5%, 10% of what you need to know when you're trying to
Yeah.
break off into this industry. So this conversation is something that, I think is extremely valuable and something that's needed and necessary. So let me ask this question, and I'm kind of veering off from the typical questions that I'm supposed to be getting from the viewers, but I feel like this is an important piece, right?
For
So
sure.
can you let us know where you went to grab this information and this knowledge so that way because I'm a big believer in doing your own research. I'm not a believer
Indeed.
in, I take what people say and I listen to it and I hold some value to it, right? But
Right.
we have it in the service, right? Like trust but verify. So
Indeed.
can you say or let us know like some of the locations or some of the sites or some of the books that you read that put you on game for the information that you know?
Yeah, of course, man. I would say, well, one, I have Black Law's Dictionary, and truly understanding the words, understanding the words that we use are not the same that are used in legalese. English and legalese are two different languages. That's why people go to law schools because they're really
Right.
learning a different language, right? Same way why people go to med school, they have to learn all these different words. So understanding the words is very important in law. You know, when you say a person, it's not the same as saying a human. You know, a human being is not the same as a human. Like you're learning
Right.
land and real estate are two totally different things. So understanding the words is very important. So I advise everyone to invest in a dictionary for sure. In terms of the trust law, the best books that I have are The Art of Passing the Buck, Volume 1 and Volume 2, by Gwen Wyckoff and Frank Ozak. Those
Okay.
two are amazing. Or Volume 1, I should say, is the it's pretty basic. It's showing you what you need in order to set up a trust. It's basic knowledge. Volume 2 is letting you know how to actually construct an irrevocable common law trust, which is the best trust that one could have because you're outside the jurisdiction. The courts can't take it. You can't. They are not able to touch it. When you pass something down to your heirs, they're not able to touch it. And so, for us as creators in this industry, I think it's very important because we see a lot of people get hemmed up in a lot of different areas in the law. When it comes to music, we talked about momentum earlier. We seen T.I. go to jail. We seen Wayne go to
Yeah.
jail. We seen Wesley Snipes go to. A lot of our people get hemmed up and go to jail, and that's their
We living
downfall.
in the day and age of where Thugger is going through it right now. You know what I
Indeed,
mean?
indeed, that's a great example. And so all these people that run the bag up eventually need some sort of defense, and they don't know it themselves, so they have to hire someone outside to represent themselves.
That's what's happening. That's a very big piece that I say to focus on as the viewers is, I said trust but verify earlier. I'm a big believer in going over this knowledge and information yourself. I don't want y'all to miss this and overlook what Ken Folk is trying to tell y'all. You know what I mean? Like, especially once you get to that point where you are running up that bag and first getting that bag and then running it up, like, financially, you need to know how to be responsible. But if you're not responsible, you're gonna hire an accountant. If you hire an accountant, and even before that, you got to sign the contract.
Facts.
Then you got to get an accountant. That's because you're not able to do this yourself. So if you don't even know how this lawyer that is reading your contract for you, if you were smart enough to even get a lawyer to read the contract before you sign it, some people ain't. I'd rather you know the knowledge yourself. But the point is, you're gonna hire that lawyer to read this contract. If you don't even know the foundation of what this said lawyer is reading and or looking for, the lawyer and the label that you're signing with both could be juicing you. It's not even just the label that's gonna juice you. Lawyers is crooked too. So point being, learn this knowledge yourself. So you ain't even gotta, you're getting the bag, right? You want to keep the bag, right? I was talking on the last episode about a lot of artists want to go out there and they get, I'm gonna just say, signed to $1 million deal. They go buy jewels, they go buy cars, they go buy houses, run through all their money. They trying to stunt. Well, if that's what you want to do, that's cool. I don't knock that. But how you gonna do that if you spending 33 and a third to your attorney just to read your contract? You losing money. So if you trying to spend all your money on some unnecessary whatever it may be, then keep your bag and learn this knowledge for yourself that Ken Folk telling you about. Keep that 33 and a third.
That's a great example of it, bro, because that's something that I thought about very very deeply when I started learning the law. It's like, wow, I'm literally saving myself 33%, $1 million contract. Then I'm going to now keep that $333,000 that be going to somebody just because they know how to read. Just because they know how to read, bro.
That's it. That's all they're doing. They're reading the contract that you have to personally sign. So why not just learn how to understand the information that's being given to you, so you ain't got to pay nobody to do it?
Because who's gonna protect yourself better than you? You know what you want. You know. If you're gonna call yourself,
I can tell you all day as my attorney, I can tell you what I want. But just because I tell you what I want does not mean that that's what's in the contract. We've seen so many artists, so many people say, well, I asked for this. I can give a fuck what you asked for. This is what you signed for. There's a difference.
Yeah.
And they don't know it.
They don't know it, bro. And so that's why it's very important, you know, and putting things, you don't have to just sign anything that you're giving, man. Send that back to them. Like, man, red line, I want this, and send it back and negotiate. Because now you're in the position to negotiate versus you just taking what you're giving, man. Because, you know, hey, and like I'll tell you what the Bible says, the debtor is always a slave to the lender. So you being in the you're taking money from, you're already in a bad position anyway when you're signing that contract. So you need to know, one, how to sign your name and your contract, and you got to know what you signing, like you said.
And you know what's funny is, like, a lot of people don't realize, I can't even say they don't realize, a lot of us, and when I say us, I mean minorities. A lot of us are in positions where, one, we don't have the information, we don't have the knowledge because we sometimes don't have access to it, right? Doesn't mean we can't get it. We just don't have access to it. Totally different topic we can just dive into. But because we don't have access to it and because we don't have that knowledge, we depend on other people to give us that knowledge and that information, right? And due to that, that puts us in a place where in our normal everyday lives, we're struggling, to put food on the table for the kids. We struggling to survive as a younger individual that just wants to enjoy life while they're in college and right after college. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you're in college, you want to live that life where you enjoying finally being on your own and seeing what being adults like. So that takes money. With that
Indeed.
all being said, you know what I mean? We don't realize that, to go back to what you said about the contracts and what the Bible says, we will take the bag even knowing it's going to be a shitty situation and sign that contract just because we're like, oh, this is a way out of my less than fortunate situation that I'm in. It don't have to be that way. If you are presented with a position, if you're put in a position where you can have the ability to get that bag, make sure that you're prepared to read that contract that you're signing, because once you sign it, it's all over. Kinfo said you could send it back.
So
A lot of people don't know that. They think, well, they gave me a contract, I can't negotiate, I can't rebuttal. You gonna rebuttal in the streets? If you go to a dope boy and a dope boy trying to sell you a bag and you don't agree with the weight versus the price, actually, some people probably would be some ducks and pay for it. I'm not him. You know what I mean? I'm a negotiate. It's the
yeah,
same thing with those that are corporations. You can negotiate with a corporation. People don't realize that and don't know that just because they're starstruck or this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. It's not. Is it a far and few in between opportunity? It is. Don't mean that just because you pass on that opportunity based on what they're trying to offer you and you don't agree with it, pass up on it. Going back to the higher frequency, lower frequency morals and values. Just because somebody's offering you something, don't mean that you got to take it. And if you don't take it, that may not be that path that the universe is meant for you to take. You know what I mean? Like, skip over that. Don't take that.
indeed. That's why the Bible says, when they talk about ye of little faith, right? For me to be able to, going back to the Cardi situation, for me to be
Right?
able to pass on that situation, knowing I knew that the Father had something more for me. I knew that I would be selling out. I would be lowering my frequency by writing something that Cardi B would be comfortable singing, knowing the type of music that she puts out, and I know that in the end, the Father got me, man. Like I know that I have to take a step back. I had to learn this information so that I would be able to now step forward, right? Because this is once I learn, man, these are the fundamentals. This is stuff that we're supposed to be learning as children, because that's what the
Yeah.
elite are learning. They're learning this information as children, learning how to move on a business plane, well, knowing the commercial and knowing how to, the legal and everything, how to construct trust and how to read contracts and everything. So now that I know how to move correctly, I'm able to now go forward. But I had to take a season. Okay, I'm learning this. I'm learning. Okay, let me see. Okay, this is how I do this. Okay, okay. Like I just did something yesterday or today actually that is we talk about copyright. Copyright your name. Your name is your
Yeah.
property. Copyright. You know, man, this is the stuff that's going to protect you in the long run, especially as you go forward in the music industry. But this is information that unfortunately has not been passed down to us, and so we're naked when we go out here. We're butt naked when we go out here in this industry, and we're dealing with these these executives, man, and they running through us. They looking at us like sheep, hey wolves, bro. Like it's not to play. This
And they
industry.
do that because, again, the moral of the story for this show is having the knowledge and lack of knowledge, right? Those two things is something that I want everybody to focus on, is to say what you were saying. They look at us like sheep, they look at us like dogs, they take advantage of our craft, but they do that because we're not given the information that their children grew up knowing. their grandparents knew and passed down. We weren't given that information. So we don't know how to play the game. We're trying to play the game. We're trying to get into the game, but you can't go to a court, get on and try to play in the NBA and have no foundational knowledge of how to dribble, how to shoot, the basics. But that's what a lot of us are doing. We think
Yeah.
just because we know how to make a song that we can go and get into this industry. That's not facts, because we don't have a foundation. And that's why I'm saying the moral of this episode is have the knowledge, get that, because you will be viewed differently when you walk into a room with higher ups, leadership, owners, businessmen, corporations. You're going to be looked at differently if you have that knowledge when you walk into the room and you're speaking their language, versus if you come into the room and you're a novice and you don't know shit, but you got a fire ass hit. Their first thought is, cool, I can run up this bag on this motherfucker because he or she got the look, he or she got a hit, but he or she don't know shit. So I'm finna get everything I can get. I'm taking whatever that high ass percentage is gonna be, and unfortunately, that artist is probably gonna take it because they don't have the knowledge. And that's what I want y'all to understand and get through what Ken Folk is trying to tell you, because he's giving y'all gems, he's giving y'all information, he's giving y'all knowledge that y'all need to go look up and that y'all need to seek. But let me lighten the mood a little bit, right? So I know we talked about it off camera, but I got a particular process when it comes to writing music. Can you walk us through your typical songwriting process, where you come up with inspiration, where you come up with the lyrics and the melodies, and just speak on that a little bit?
Of course, man. Of course, man. It's something that I'm proud to say I can show anybody how to write a hit. I'm at that point
Yeah,
now in my life where I'm like, and I tested it a few years ago with this little girl. She was like family to me. She was like 13. She wrote music. She heard my song. She's like, man, I want to learn how to write. I'm like, I can show you how to write. Like, let me show you how. I'm like, we're gonna
yeah,
go. First thing I do, I find the beat. I find the instrumental, whatever you want to call it. I find that. And then I listen to it, I try to catch it, and I find the melody. The melody is the second. Yeah, not even the second. The melody is the most important thing, because you could be
yeah.
singing a song. I can sing a melody right now, and you'll know the song just by the melody, right? Because it's like that.
I don't even know why the fuck that shit just came to
Come
my
on,
head,
come
but
on.
that's a catchy, you know what I'm saying? It's a catchy hit, even though it's older, but that's the point. The melody is the most important part. But go ahead, my
Yes.
fault.
Yeah, nah, that's exactly it, bro. And so you get that melody, and then you learn how to put the words to it. You put the words to it in a way you just let it speak to you at that point. Whatever comes to you is typically, in my experience, the first thing that comes to you is what you're supposed to use. And so most of
Absolutely,
the
I
time,
agree.
I'll just put my voice memo on, and I'll just boom. I'll play that beat 10 times, and I'll listen. I'll have a voice memo, and I'll record it all those 10 times, and then I'll hear different things, different melodies, different things that I'm saying and doing throughout it. And I'm like, ooh, I like that one in take 3. I like that one in take 5, and I'll mesh it all together.
Yep.
And I'll take that and I'll put it together and I'll tie it and I'll write the lyrics to it. And then yeah, bro, like that's typically how I write my songs. Is I let the melody lead it, and then I write my lyrics to it. But yeah,
I do the same thing. The melody usually, and when I say usually, I mean like 90% of the time, the melody is usually what comes to me first. Uh, it's a dude, shout out to J Beats Music, that I rock with. He sends me his catalog of beats that he got, and we just work together with making something creative, right?
right,
And he sent me a beat today, because I've been on my like Southern Soul. I've been on R&B, but like I've been on my Southern Soul like country lane, Western lane, right? And he was like, hey, bro, he was like, man, I just tried something. He was like, I just made a little country beat, Western beat. He was like, listen to it and tell me what you think. So I had just got out of a briefing because I'm finna deploy. On my way to the crib from my briefing, I opened up the email and I played the beat. I got it recorded on my phone because that's my process. I'm in the whip to or from work. I open up my voice recorder, put the beat on in the whip. I'm sliding wherever I'm going to, and while the beat playing, I'm freestyling. I don't give a fuck if I'm saying words or not. That's irrelevant to me because the words come easy. The melody is where the is the most important part. So that's what I focus on. So I got my phone, and when I played it, I was like, oh nigga, this shit is a move right here, nigga. I'm freestyling. Just mumbling, like whatever the fuck it is. I'm not saying no words. Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. But I just start saying shit in my phone. When I get to the crib, I upload that recording on my phone to my DAW, and then I have the beat synced with what I uploaded, and then I'll start writing words. But that's my process. Everybody has to have a process. I don't know what some people. I got a partner, D Real out of Houston. Honestly, like in real life. I ain't talking. You know how when people go to Sway on IG, or you know what I'm saying, some show where they make you freestyle. A lot of that shit ain't freestyles. People don't know that, but a lot of that shit ain't freestyles. A lot of that shit's written. But as an actual, he smoked, I drank, we put on the beat, and this nigga would legit freestyle for like 30 motherfucking minutes, like fire ass shit. I used to record all his shit. I ain't really fuck with my nigga probably in a good amount of time. But anyway, he can't write for shit. All he can do is free. Some people have everybody their own process. You know what I mean? So find what works for you. But for me, like I say, I just get my phone out and hey man, I just start going off in the phone and whatever come out finna be a hit. You know what I mean? So my next thing that I really would like for people to know is moving forward, what are your goals? What are your aspirations? Where would you like to see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years, creatively and professionally?
Oh man. I'm about to take this independent thing to another level, but I'm realizing how YouTube is becoming, not even becoming, YouTube is the done data, and it's about branding. You know, if you're going to do it independently, you got to brand yourself. So that's what this next year is going to be. It's going to be me really growing and increasing my brand. Like we talked about earlier in the video, discipline, consistency. That's the way to really grow it. And that's what I have, but I have to lock in. And so, because I've been so focused on this law, and now that I've got it, now I'm like, okay, I've already created the LLC. I got all that, Ben had that, it's moving. Now it's time to get this business credit where I want to get it, to where we're able to get these loans to be able to finance it in a way that we're now able to start making really big moves. You know, making videos, doing all this type of stuff that's now going to elevate me to the place that I'd like to see myself at. You know, I've heard somebody say it takes about, I've heard 115 to like 150,000 in order to make a hit song, like where everybody knows it, make it mainstream. So, you know, that's,
you mean views, or what are you saying? 100 to 115 what?
Dollars. 115 to 150,000 dollars. Yeah.
Okay.
To really get it. You know, everybody has it. So that's the goal, man. But I'm sure with 100,000, you're gonna make some noise, and it's about just getting to the point where people know it, getting that song where everybody likes it, and getting it out there to the public. And yeah, bro. So that's the goal right now. That's the goal right now. It's growing everything out. Because the music is when you have a catalog like yours and mine, man, it's time to go ahead and just start really making money off what we've already written.
Right.
So,
That's
man, I
real.
want to start making money off of the songs that I already have. I know I have hits in the catalog already. And then I have people that I've been wanting to write for. So it's about going to and actually connecting with these people, making these songs happen. It's about tying all everything together. But like I said, I had to take a season off to really just focus on how do I get this the right way. So I got to really just, get this law stuff so I can do it the right way. Also, some personal things that I was going through as well. So, gotta have the mental health, gotta, everything has to be aligned, everything has to be, going the right way to be able to really take advantage of this industry the way you want to. So yeah,
You know,
bro.
you said something that's really important that I strongly believe in, where you said you had to take a year off so you
Yeah,
could focus on law, personal life, and other things, right? Like, to put that into perspective, there's times where I'm moving in a direction that's very beneficial for my
yeah,
goal that I'm trying to accomplish. And then sometimes I have to slow down. It's okay to slow down.
it
People
is.
don't realize that, like, if you think about traffic, right?
Yeah,
Like coming from Atlanta, like we got 6, 7 lanes on the freeway. A lot of people ain't used to that. But even though you got all these lanes and you think that it would be moving, like those lanes are equivalent to your goals. You gotta, what the finish line would be the goal, but to get to your goal, you gotta drive through these lanes. And you
mm-hmm.
would think with all of these pathways to get to where you want to go, it should just be cut and dry. Let's get there now. But sometimes, even though you have 6, 7 lanes, you still have congestion. That congestion is distractions. Those distractions can be the club, your significant other. I'm not saying it disrespectfully, but like kids. You know what I'm saying? It could be a multitude of things that are distractions. Sometimes cars get in your way, and you see that this far left lane is wide ass open, but you can't get there because you're moving too fast. When you're moving fast, you're congested with all these other cars. But if you just slow down for 5, 10 minutes, or slow down for whatever that time frame is, you can get over to that far left lane. Now you passing everybody else that was
Yeah,
congesting you. So sometimes you have to just take time off and sit back. Because to touch back on what you were saying, you took that time off to learn the law, to deal with your personal things in life. Now that you took that time, you can, which is you slowing down and pumping the brakes so you can get into that left lane, which is the fast lane for those that don't understand how US highways work. Just throwing that out there because some people don't. But you took that time to take off and pump the brakes. Now you're in that left lane and you can take the fuck off and do what you do with your music, with whatever it is that you have as a goal and whatever you got set. I appreciate the conversation that we have had because a lot of times people don't just get actual conversation that means something. And I feel like this whole episode was based off of knowledge and information. It wasn't just shooting the shit, which is cool. We did shoot the shit and we just talking and, you know what I'm saying, letting it be organic. But I feel like you actually were able to, you know what I'm saying, drop gems on the viewers that were listening. So I want to thank you, my dog, for pulling up, dropping dimes with the Bars with LeVar family. Y'all make sure
sir.
y'all stay tuned for the performance coming up next. Don't forget to participate in the hashtag Open Verse Challenge. You know it's your boy, Mr. LeVar. We part for now, but never too far. Subscribe to the channel for more Bars with LeVar. Till next time.
Peace.